on March the 4th at 8 o'clock for the next Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Right, let's give him. I tell you what, we'll bring him on after our intro because we have an intro. Me and Colin, ex-racing driver from the United Kingdom, from His Majesty's United Kingdom, and all-round good egg. I don't know if you've seen it's the dad joke equivalent of a sex tape. He's got a tape going round of his most recent European performance on his European tour, and the crowd were a little bit difficult, but it didn't stop him. He kept going. He's a professional, as you'll find out in just a moment, after our new intro into this new feature, I keep saying Go Motoring. That's the building feature. Go Motoring Portugal. Here we go. Now, I do like the horn on the end of that. Who doesn't like a horn first thing in the morning, eh, Colin? Good morning to you. Bon dia.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning. You hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Good. Good,
yes.
good.
Don't tell him your name, Pike. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Excellent. I was hoping so. Look at you with your Good Morning Portugal mug as well. Yes. And we had a lot of fun, didn't we, reviewing our first vehicle, and we'll say more about it this morning. But I think a little bit of the backstory to this, we have been having talks, haven't we? Or our people have been speaking to each other. My people were speaking to your people and vice versa, and thought it might be a good idea to have a motoring section or feature on the Good Morning Portugal show. We've made it happen. What were your original thoughts? Why did you want to make this happen, Colin?
Well, I thought it's a different car market in Portugal compared with, I suppose most of your clients are from the United States, where choice is wonderful because it's the largest car market in the world. So that actual fact is slowly being caught by the Chinese market, unfortunately. But
oh yeah, of course,
yeah. But in America, you have big, wide, open roads with a 65 mile an hour speed limit, and your cars are extensively very wide, very comfortable, absolute rubbish going around corners.
The controversy has started, yeah. But there are.
But they don't have many corners, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And they've got all the songs. They've got all the best motoring songs, haven't they? Ride along the automobile, grease lighting, and you're burning at the corner of my. They've got all the songs. They've got the culture. Absolutely, yeah.
So when they come to Portugal, those sort of vehicles are basically too wide for the roads. Yeah. Whilst they're comfortable, they aren't very good at going around our tight little bends. So they need advice on what to buy in this country. And it's a much different market because there are cars in America that you will never see in Europe. Therefore, they're not aware of it. So I thought we have a duty to help people know what the Portuguese market gives. And to do that, it would have been nice for us to have manufacturers falling all over us to try their cars and promote them. But unfortunately, the only kind ones so far are Cateno in Caldas, who are, Toyota dealers. But the group is the actual Toyota importer for the whole of Portugal.
Yeah. Okay. And for transparency,
so that's where
you're a big fan of Toyota. You're a Toyota owner, aren't you?
I am. Yes. Okay. I have to admit that I put my hard-earned cash into a Toyota.
Yeah, and very nice it is too, because we've got some footage of being in your Yaris. Is it a Yaris GT? Yaris. It's a souped up.
It's a GR Yaris, which means that it's a limited edition. It's a rally car for the road.
And it does actually go grrr as well, doesn't it? On
Unfortunately, yes, it does, but it's piped in sound through the speakers.
That's really quite disappointing in a way, isn't it? But
it is. Most people say they dislike it, but you know.
Well, I wouldn't have known unless you told me that. I wouldn't have known. And I'm thinking,
well, there you go.
If you're going to go to the trouble of recording MP3s to play when you put your foot down, you might want the sound of a dragon in the background, or I don't know. You could have other sounds, couldn't you? And people might like to suggest those, or Flight of the Valkyries, or something like that. Can you change the MP3 on demand, or it's a factory setting? Is it
factory setting? And apparently you can't even switch it off. But there are people on forums that have bought these cars that are spending thousands upon thousands of pounds or euros on special exhaust to make it sound nice for the people outside, but it still gets that sound on the inside. So I just don't understand how people can spend that sort of money. Oh,
that's interesting. So Toyota designed that so that the driver would experience that sound more than that's very considerate, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because if you listen to the car from the outside, it sounds like an ordinary shopping trolley car.
Does it? Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, well, certainly better than. I don't know about you, Colin, and we're going to be going to the electric vehicle show, aren't we, in May in Lisbon, and having some fun. But I'm not. Again, electric vehicles could have any sound, and instead of sounding kind of manly and amazing and beefy, they sound like Darth Vader's mother-in-law whining down the street. Don't they? What is that about?
Well, it's like somebody hoovering, isn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's not an impressive sound, and in fact, I find it quite an unnerving sound as well. That sort of, like there's RoboCop is breathing down your neck kind of sound. So I think electric vehicles, and they can probably change it actually, to be fair, but most of them seem to make that similar sort of sound there. Okay, so there we are. We did imagine that motor manufacturers, distributors might be falling over themselves to help us fit out and assist foreigners buying cars. That hasn't happened as yet, apart from one marvelous chap who we know. And the most difficult thing about working with this man is pronouncing his name. Everything apart from that has been absolutely wonderful. Working with the legend and man mountain, who is Rui Iga. Can you say that, Colin?
I certainly can say Rui.
It's a good effort. You're not going to get a muito bem from me for that, or for the video, I don't suppose. But that is Rui Iga, or Big Roy, as Colin might call him, standing in the showroom from where we were able to borrow a RAV4 hybrid just recently. And I've got some lovely photos of said vehicle, which I think we really enjoyed. Oh, look, Coach Turner was looking forward to. It would only be me singing Fleetwood Mac. Dung, 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 dung. And we can go into guitar song. If you want a Jack Black School of Rock kind of thing, we can do that as we play out. Oh, look, then here more songs coming in. She's real fine. She's my 409. What is that? A Peugeot? It's not the most sexy name for a car, a 409, is it? And I've yet to see a Hummer here in Portugal. That's not going to go down any country lane, is it? That's part of the problem you were talking about before. But here is the beauty that we were able to borrow. Now, here's a nice selection of pictures. We were a little bit disappointed that day, Colin, of course, because we thought we'd have a sunny day. We thought we'd do some GoPro-style footage, but it was peeing down, basically. So we got some moody shots of the RAV4 on the San Martino de Porto quay. The review is, we decided we would take to the paper instead. So the Portugal resident column today of mine is a review of this car. And here are a few pictures of it today for you. And we'll talk about it on the show today in our new feature, Go Motoring Portugal. There's us chatting in the vehicle there as we're going along what turned out to be a very wet and windy road. So they weren't the most perfect conditions for showing off the car to all its glory. But quite a good test of its capabilities, right, on that road there. You were driving at that point. What did you think of the handling in these awkward conditions?
Well, it's a four-wheel drive SUV, so it's a solid car with no problems. And as the weather is rainy, but okay, we're both from the UK. We're used to it. It's not like we're Portuguese and we're frightened to death that it's raining.
Okay, so we are going to get occasional insight into how you view the motoring style of Portugal, and that was one such example there. I think you prefer the driving style of the UK, even though you find yourself mostly on Portuguese roads these days.
I would say so. Yes, I used to do the equivalent of. Well, I did 10,000 miles a month when I used to work for Alfa Romeo.
Did you really?
10,000 miles a month, and I used to see around about one accident a month.
Yeah. However,
here, in the years I've been here, I've been doing limited mileage, for instance, 3,000 to 4,000 miles a year.
Right, it's quite the change.
And I've been seeing an accident once a week.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's from your own experience and a bit of an opinion, as we were talking about earlier on, which I think a lot of people would find it hard to disagree with. There is a different driving style here. And I think the more Catholic a country, my theory about this, my personal theory, and it's an opinion, is that the more Catholic a country, the more interesting the driving style. You could say more is left to faith rather than driving skill, perhaps, or a mixture of the two. Bobby's suggestion is if you're in Lisbon, if it rains, take the train. I think that's good advice there. So here we are. We were going to go to the Buddha Garden, Eden Buddha Garden. I'm never sure which way around the words go. But what a brilliant venue that would have been to take a few shots. Two reasons we didn't go there. One was because it was peeing down, and the other was because we couldn't actually drive into the place to take pictures of ourselves near massive Buddhas. That wouldn't have been possible. So we were heading in that direction. We thought, let's go to Lourinhã instead, and we could play a game of Spot the Dinosaur. Now, no cruel jokes here, please, anybody. The dinosaur is obvious in these images here, and we parked outside there. What a fabulous place that is, and what a great little contrast, a little bit of visual poetry there. There we are looking at the dinosaur age, and we're in a hybrid car, which would you say is the future? I mean, it's going to go from combustion engines to hybrids to all electric. Do you think that's definitely the direction of travel? Pardon the pun.
I read this morning two articles, one by saying that Mercedes are stopping making electric cars in the future. And also BMW are stopping making electric cars in the future, and they're going hydrogen because they think hydrogen is the future. So we're still in that dilemma here as to what is the future. I mean, you have to accept that the German auto industry have for 120 years been investing in the petrol and diesel models. So they're very reluctant to suddenly have to invest in new technology.
Yeah.
I mean, electric cars were around in 1890.
Yeah, but you had to put a lot of AA batteries in, didn't you, at that point?
Yeah.
That's such a good video. The Mercedes AA class. It's a brilliant. Get a chance to see that from Saturday Night Live. Well, that's interesting then. So we've got ourselves in a kind of videotape moment, haven't we? The electric cars now might be the Betamax of the future, where some people have got that still, and they say, "Oh, I'm never going to give up my electric car. It's fantastic." Even though those VHS guys with their hydrogen vehicles came along, us with our video disc 2000 and Betamax are diehard electric vehicle users, and you can hear us coming down the street. That's interesting. Okay, what about auto drive or shared cars? Now, that's another angle altogether, that question from Bobby there. Have you got any facts and figures on that? Do you think we're going to be going automated, and do you think we'll have more carpooling? Because it doesn't make sense for everyone to have their own vehicle, does it, in many ways?
It doesn't, but we are very independent, aren't we? We like to do what we want to do when we want to do it.
No question.
But Tesla with Elon Musk has admitted that they're not a car company. They're going to be a car sharing company. So his idea is the robo-taxi.
Yeah.
And certainly, I think it was Las Vegas or LA, I can't remember. He built some tunnels where you just have Teslas going through and people jump in and they get out the other end.
Yes, like in Minority Report, which isn't the best example.
Similar. Yeah. So,
okay.
the whole industry is in a what will we do? And it takes an entrepreneur like Musk to do something different. All the established manufacturers kept saying, "Oh, the guy's an idiot. He won't survive," and all the rest of it. And now he's the best-selling electric car in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
and the most profitable car manufacturer in the world.
Yeah. And what did you say? What business are they in? They're in the lift sharing business. Did he say?
They're in the car sharing business, robo taxis, and software industry. They don't pretend to be a car manufacturer. They don't.
It's a means to an end, isn't it? It's a means to an end.
Yeah.
And that's where he's very different from the traditional car manufacturers that you've mentioned there. They were definitely in the business of cars. Yeah. And I would say he's in the business of data, isn't he? That's been the spin-off from this.
Well, it is. And one of the hidden facts behind Mercedes and BMW sort of going cold feet on electric cars is they can't produce them at the sort of price that and for a profit like Elon Musk does.
Yeah, and the Chinese even more so, and we'll find that out when we go to the electric car show in May, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel another song coming on. The Beatles could re-record Day Tripper as Data Tripper as the new anthem.
Data Tripper.
She was a data tripper. Right. Okay. Let's talk more about this vehicle then. The Toyota RAV4 hybrid lent to us by Caetano in Caldas Terrenia. There you are at the back of the vehicle. Very thoughtfully. You had 3 very interesting tests for this vehicle, Colin. You brought your tea and coffee caddies. Those fitted in well into the cup holder, didn't they? And then
absolutely.
You wanted some rear end action here where we can see as though you were going on holiday, which upset your dogs, didn't it? As you were leaving the house with all your suitcases, they
certainly did. Well, I'd only recently, 2 weeks before, come back from a skiing holiday. So, and they this time seem to miss me more than usual.
Yeah, and well, these suitcases were empty. Although when I put on Facebook, we finally, Colin and I are going off for a romantic weekend in Paris. A lot of people thought that was actually true. And I would like to say for the record, it wasn't true. It was just a joke.
No.
Based on the extraordinary capacity of the RAV4 hybrid. And you can see there. I mean, that passed your test, didn't it, with the luggage?
It certainly did, yeah.
Okay. And
there's 2 large suitcases there that would get the 23 kilos that you're allowed with TAP, and 2 large carry-on.
And that's the wife's luggage. That's the wife's luggage sorted out, and you can just put your own carry bag of stuff on the back seat.
You can put it on the back seat. Yeah.
Good. Okay. And this is the other test here. You and the pizza. Are we going to do this
Me
with
and the
every
pizza
car we borrow? We're going to go and buy a big pizza and see if we can get on the back seat with it.
Well, we can alternate what we actually carry. It doesn't have to be pizza, does it?
No, but you got into this vehicle, didn't you?
I did.
If I click on that, and I can't make it go any further. But anyway, you over 6 foot, you were happy with the passenger experience as well, right? So you got in there with your big.
What I did was I left my seat where it was whilst I was driving, and I'm 6'2", so I then tried to get in the back behind the driver's seat, and there was plenty of room for me.
Yeah.
So, that's a good test of any car.
It is. Okay, so it's passed a lot of tests so far. We also found out how the dinosaurs became extinct, didn't we? Because they were fed pizza. Please do not feed pizzas to dinosaurs. We fear
it kills them. Yeah.
It was a kind gesture, which backfired.
And then if you give them Coke, they get a really bad stomach. Coca-Cola and pizza, deadly.
It was the end of the dinosaurs. Hear that, human beings.
Yeah.
And then I think next day when I was taking the vehicle back, I mean, aren't we lucky, Colin, to have so many wonderful locations in which to film these vehicles, even when it is raining overcast. So that's me.
Yeah, absolutely.
There on the way back, taking the vehicle back, and to say thank you to this lovely man, Rui Ira, who lent us the vehicle at Caetano in Toyota Garage, which is called Caetano, and they have branches in Caldas Terrenia, Santarém, and Tomar. and we can give you his phone number if you want the process made a little bit easier. You bought your car through him. That's why we know this guy, right? And was it an easy
Absolutely.
process? Did it go smoothly?
Very smoothly. The only problem is that the car, it took 9 months because it's a hand-built car, and in the UK it takes over a year to get one. So 9 months I was quite pleased about.
Okay, and some people say it takes 9 months to get served in a Portuguese car dealership. Is that true?
Right. You have to accept that we're not in the United States. We're not in the UK.
Not in Kansas anymore.
No. If you walk into a showroom in Portugal, you can look at cars, you can bang doors, you can sit in them, and nobody will approach you.
They're scared, probably.
They are shy.
Right.
Is the only word I can use for it.
Yes.
If you approach them and say "Fala Inglês," they'll go "Oh, puku," and then have a proper conversation with you in English. Yeah.
Right.
So
they're not pushy.
They're not pushy. They're not pushy at all, which also has the other fact that they don't like confrontation. So trying to get a deal out of them. I mean, obviously, I couldn't get a deal out of my car because it was a 9-month waiting list.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to pay full up.
Yeah,
but they're not comfortable with people going in and trying to do a deal with them. They will do a deal, but they're not comfortable with it. So, you know, the habits that we've got in the UK and in the United States, where the car salesman is probably treated as the lowest of the low next to probably an estate agent.
Traffic wardens, those sort of people, politicians.
Traffic wardens, yeah. So they're just nice people here. They're there to offer you whatever you want, you know, but you have to make the first move.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's good to know. We've only got about 4 minutes left, and we were going to talk about
it's perfect
what you need in your car. So we'll have to do that another time.
All right. Okay.
That's a very important subject. We could take it to the Portugal Club timeline as well. It's very important because you get fined if you haven't got certain vehicles or documentation.
Absolutely.
Ephemera in your car. You will get a fine for those. So we will cover those in due course. This is the first of many, I hope, reviews and chats about motoring. We've got some lovely feedback coming in. Suze, good morning to you. Colin hasn't driven Western North America's mountainous areas. We have curves and steep climbs, man. So I think you're making a bit of a generalization, which I think is generally true. But yes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that they have those roads. They just don't have the right cars to drive them.
Oh, okay. I've seen buses go around roads that I wouldn't dare even in a small car. That's the coach drivers going into Caldas Terrenia bus garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's an optical illusion, isn't it? It's like they are members of the Magic Circle. I think you have to have
unbelievable.
A PSV
unbelievable drivers
of the Magic Circle to get in that. By handy, Hola, bon dia, Malta. Been scrubbing out the pool, getting ready for another fantastic Bayradian summer. Look at him, stripped down to the waist with his broomstick there. Antonio F. Thank you, Kylie. There are. Oh, okay, that's his name this week. There are, but very rare, very expensive to buy and keep. Some 60 Hummers in Portugal. Antonio F. read somewhere. My favorite car, says Darren, was the Honda E. Absolutely loved it. E's are good. And what's happened, asked Darren, with the new IMT app and digital driving licenses? Any clues on that, Colin? Or we can come
I haven't, because I basically use ACP to do my driving licenses. All you do is you turn up at their office, which locally is Torres Vedras. Mm-hmm. You sit in front of a doctor who looks at you and goes, yeah, signs off.
Okay.
And they do the process for you.
Oh, I think this is the convergence of digital documents. And we've got some other correspondence about this, which somebody said on a different forum. Good conversation as always. This was on our dream team from last Thursday when I asked the Portuguese professionals whether they were going to be adopting this new carry it all on your phone approach to not just your driving license, but your ID card or other important things. Good conversation as always, said Glick Mathan, because data breaches will always be a reality. I would never consolidate my personal data on any app or centralized system. I get letters fairly regularly from companies and government agencies alerting me to data breaches. I also worry about online access to my bank accounts being compromised. So not a fan there, and not many of the Dream Team were going to be early adopters of that either. Another bit of news before we look at a few other comments was about the, you know how Portugal taxes people for bringing cars in from the supposedly free market of other parts of Europe. Well, refunds are possible. I also put that to the Dream Team. This is not a good look for Portugal, is it, to be fining people, taxing people for bringing vehicles in from other parts of the EU? And apparently the little guy doesn't stand much of a chance with that. That's just the big importers who've tried that. It takes forever. So no light at the end of the tunnel for that particular bit of motoring news there. Lots of other comments. This is fantastic. Hybrids don't make sense to me. They have all the elements, both electric and fuel cars, and energy regeneration, which slows the car down. It's kind of pointless. And SUV, says Darren, are top heavy and prone to rolling. Would you agree on that there, Colin?
They used to be. I mean, the old Range Rovers were very well known for toppling over on motorways.
Yes.
But you know, that's a thing of the past.
Okay, all right. So that's one of those things that has dogged the hybrid industry, an old reputation. Like Alfa Romeos are all rusty. Not true anymore.
Yeah,
the car looks exactly like ours in America. You can actually fit a touring bicycle in the back. No worries. How about that? Yeah. That's good to know from personal experience. The US,
the Rav4 is available in America. So
yes,
we started with a car. We started with a car that is actually available in America.
Very good.
It's not going to be the case.
Before we welcome Heather and say goodbye to you, Colin, the US was solidly on public transport around the turn of the 20th century until the auto and fuel industries illegally began dismantling them to provide and promote individual cars. Interesting. Bought for 26K, and that seems about the same for other similarly spec'd cars. Are you talking about that particular vehicle there? Oh, Coach Turner, you have the hybrid that was 26K. HRV, and the powertrain is great for town driving, not as economic on the motorway, but really easy to drive. Prefer my Cayman, though. Of course you do. And well said, James, to an earlier comment. And finally, from Michael, there's no room in any car for cup holders. That's what cafes are for, Colin. So eat your pizza. So thank you, everybody, for your comments. Small cars aren't safe is another very outdated statement. Yeah, cars are pretty safe these days, aren't they? Relatively speaking, notwithstanding human error. Thank you very much, Colin. So you would commend this car to the house, I take it?
Absolutely, yes.
The Toyota Rav4 hybrid. And if you want connecting with Rui Ira at Caetano in Caldas, just let us know. It'd be our pleasure to introduce you to him. He's a great fella. And already, since we started talking about cars, other Gumpers have cars that they want rid of who aren't staying in Portugal. So give me a shout. There are a few cars that people would like to recycle, which is quite a good thing to do, isn't it? Because you know it's come from somebody who you either know from the Gumper community, and it'll be new, and that will spare you a lot of the processes that you would otherwise have to go through. Last words from you then, Colin, before we see you again next month in this same capacity.
Yeah, it would be nice next month for people to pre-ask questions so we can make more content.
Yep. Okay.
Rather than bumble along as we do.
Bumbling along here, don't we? This is how we roll. But yes, if you have any questions, then please just send them to us, 913-590-0303. And it'll be our pleasure to pick up a car issue or two or question with you. And look forward to having a bit of a chat from, I think, a confirmed petrol head, really. You are an old school. You are the dinosaur in that respect, are you not, Colin? You do love
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so more about that when we next see you, and I hope to see you soon, probably for some rugby action. Aren't the Lobos doing very well? The Portuguese team are doing fantastically, aren't they?
They are playing England A on Sunday.
Oh, excellent! England A
in the UK. So hopefully that will be on the Portuguese television, if not on the UK.
All right, Colin, lots of love to you over there on the other side of the lagoon there. And I hope to see you soon. Watch a bit of rugby, have a bit of fun at the Welsh Bar. Take care and bye.
Bye.
Off he goes. There we go. Right, and let's keep that applause going. Oh, James loves bumbling with me on a Monday. And bring Heather onto the stage. Good morning to you. Fancy a bumble, Heather?
a fancy a Bumble. I'm not touching that one.